I'm Vicky Demas. I am the CEO of Identifeye HEALTH. I am an engineer by training, physical chemist, and I have spent the last 20 or so years building products and platforms to help patients.
Tell me a little bit more about those platforms and patients and how it's led to Identifeye.
Sure. So probably the most relevant was early work about 10 or so years ago at Google X of what became the Life Sciences Initiative, which was spun out as Google Life Sciences and rebranded to Verily with the alphabet restructure.
Yes.
And the general theme there was leveraging AI and tools that made Google, the things we know about it, to really solve problems worth solving in the life sciences and healthcare space, which was how I was introduced to retinal screening and eyes as sort of like this window into the health and wellness. Yeah.
And so that's the space that Identifeye is playing in. The retinal scanner side. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So at Identifeye, we're using AI and automation to really enable retinal screening. So making capturing of good quality data from the retina very easy. And then eventually also using AI to analyze the images and get more insights. And the retina is this incredible part in the body where we can directly visualize vessels and nerves. It is part of the central nervous system. So there are a ton of biomarkers beyond ocular disease and being able to screen for that, but really to talk about your cardiovascular health, your neurodegenerative disease, etc. So it is truly a window into the soul, or actually like the body and health.
And what does and so Identifeye, is it the software platform? Is it hardware? Is it like, what is it?
It is everything.
Everything.
So it's starting with, at the center of it is the platform, but it is the full stack. So it is a hardware device that with AI is fully automated. We have an app that is running on an iPad mini that comes with a camera system that almost gives you live feedback to make sure that the information you typically would expect a well-trained photographer, let's call it, like a photographer, to actually do that. So we are giving the instructions so that we can capture good quality image. And then there's almost, you can think of it as software launching on top of the platform to start analyzing the images we capture.
Yeah.
To gain insights.
And so tell me a little bit more about the clinicians that are going to be using it then, because, it sounds like it's an easy setup. It's got the iPad mini. It sounds like it's movable. It's not a giant kind of machine that you have to install into a place.
Correct.
It's using it.
It is portable. And the user is really, we're focusing on the medical assistant.
Yeah.
At your primary care doctor. So this is someone who's very busy and is doing everything, right? Like, taking your vitals, setting up the patient. So we really have applied what I'd like to say consumer product development principles to make the device super intuitive so that it doesn't require a ton of training or retention of a ton of information. So they can easily run it and capture good quality images as they're setting up the patient to be seen by the doctor.
Yeah, got you. And what would, like in the primary care setting, if I understood correctly, like when would, say, the nurse or the assistant be doing these tests? Like if they didn't have this solution available to them, like why are they doing it? Basically?
Sure.
Yeah.
So the first use case for the platform is for screening for diabetic retinopathy. So the problem here is that diabetic retinopathy is a really big problem. About 30% of people living with diabetes develop diabetic retinopathy. And there is a recommendation for annual screenings. So unfortunately, what happens in most common places is you go as a patient with diabetes, you see your primary care doctor, and then they'll say, oh, for the year, have you gotten your eyes checked? Do you need a referral? Which is not very convenient for the patient. So there has been a general trend to try to bring diabetic retinopathy screening closer to the patient because about 80 to 90% of patients living with diabetes will actually see a primary care doctor, but there haven't really been solutions that help make that easy.
Yeah.
So some attempts, but not very successful.
Got you. And what stage is it at? Is it being used in clinics right now or is it in build phase? Where are you at?
We are at a very exciting stage, which is preparing to commercialize in early Q1. We have finished the development and we're working with a contract manufacturer. We're also setting up to register as a medical device manufacturer with the FDA and move forward. But the device has been used under IRB in clinical settings, both primary care and ophthalmic, which is where we've gotten a ton of feedback also, in addition to our standard user testing, to really see what are the types of things that can go wrong and how do we use AI and automation to really kind of just build a tool that is really easy and intuitive.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about the AI that's in there. Some exciting things, obviously, that can be done with all this emerging technology.
Sure. So in the first level, in more of the capturing of the data, you can imagine what are the types of things that are required to actually capture a good photo. That usually you have almost trained photographers, if you wish, right? So first, we need to make sure that the patient is there, that their eyelids are open, that we can see their pupil, and then we can focus through the pupil to capture a good photo of the back of the eye, which is the retina. We also need to make sure that the patient is looking in the right direction, right? Because if your gaze is shifting or it's not. So we have built AI that really kind of helps with all of those components and then checks for, was the image quality sufficient to be interpreted?
I see.
Then, of course, we're working on algorithms that are specific for disease detection. So our first AI algorithm for specifically screening is for more than mild diabetic retinopathy. So it's a classifier. We've trained it in hundreds of thousands of images to say, is there diabetic retinopathy, yes or no? And it's specifically what stage of the disease, so we can actually know if we have to refer a patient to be seen by a specialist.
I'm interested in the images, like say in, another area of healthcare, say skin cancer. If you're taking images of lesions or skin, you really want to make sure you've got broad representation of gender, ethnicity, and everything to ensure that you've not got any bias and that you're truly representing what the patient cohort might be. Is it similar? I mean, eyes are eyes to me, but I'm no expert.
No. It's absolutely the same problem. And we definitely want to make sure in our clinical studies that we have diverse population. First of all, even the color of your eye is different, like the level of contrast, right? And again, how do we look through your iris? Like, that's the first part. But also, what is normal? Who defines normal? In all of these disease classifiers, you actually have to make sure that you have enough high-quality data that are representative of the population. Ethnicity, gender, age.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. It's a tricky problem to solve. And so then, what brings you to health? I guess it's tied into this leading up to Q1 of next year. Is that right? Meeting with some new stakeholders?
Yes. So that's a really big part of it, is making sure we start generating some awareness of the upcoming launch. And also, we are fundraising. So.
Yep. Amazing. Excellent. And so that's going to be your focus for Q1 of next year. And what kind of cool innovations can we see next year? Like, what's on the roadmap or pipeline? What can we look forward to seeing?
Okay. So our goal in Q1 is to really have a few pilots, which can then scale to be more commercial contracts. So more device placements, learning. One of the things that is super exciting about the way we have built our platform is that we can actually leverage the network effect as the devices are out and they're learning what are mistakes and pain points in existing workflows. We can actually push software updates to really continue to make it better.
Yeah.
We are also looking to finish the development of our diabetic retinopathy algorithm so that we can actually build in that sort of like the capturing the image, interpreting, and giving the report all at the same time very quickly. So that's kind of like the next year. And obviously we have a bigger pipeline, but we are trying to also stay very focused.
Yeah.